Welcome to another of the Builders Agency Lessons. Today we're going to talk about our competitive advantage, or what we're working on as a competitive advantage, and the big challenge that we face, but if we can really solve it and be really good at this particular thing, that we can serve our clients better and continue to grow as an agency, and making things scalable and so on and so forth. So what is our biggest challenge? Our biggest challenge is actually communication and onboarding projects, tasks, keeping track of all that stuff. But it's not because it's not keeping track of it in one system. Here's where the fun lies. We're an agency that serves multiple other agencies, digital marketing and so forth, other companies, digital marketing companies, some physical product companies. We have monthly maintenance contracts. We have just regular work we do. We serve a good number of people at this stage. And the problem is that, and this is the problem we need to solve for, is that we have communications and requests coming from many different directions. We have requests coming from email, because no matter how much we try to get people to not use email, they use email. But it's not just one inbox. We have actually emails within company inboxes, where they have a Gmail account or whatever. So I have to have insight into those as well, or be able to wrangle those emails coming from different email accounts. We have different project management systems. We have Basecamp. We have a couple clients in Basecamp. We use Trello internally, but Basecamp, Teamwork is another one. We were working with somebody for a while with Asana. We sort of on the fringes, but we haven't worked with them for a while. But so there's these multiple project management systems. There's email. We also use Zendesk. So there's ways we try to wrangle this, right? I say wrangle. That's my new word. I've been using that lately. Wrangling everything together. But we use Zendesk as kind of a way to encourage our clients to have another route that we can capture things centrally. And then I can have people in there, which I do, that can onboard those, assign them, and do stuff like that. That works. It's not great for project management so much, but it's okay for the communication of those things. So that works. But that's still something else. That's still another place where communications are coming in, besides the emails, besides the other project management systems, multiple accounts. So, and then Slack. We have one client in particular that likes to use Slack. We have to belong to their Slack account. And onboard stuff there. And within there might be multiple channels. So, yeah. But how do we do it? That's insane, right? Well, early on, I did it. I would have routines. I would just go through stuff. And this was probably before it scaled to where it is today. So in the beginning, I could kind of keep up with it. I would just do these routines of checking on things. Then I would try various ways to automate those things using ZapierMonday.com. For a while, I was, when I was still a little bit smaller, I could start. That was sort of helping. Still trying to figure out how to do that, because that can be the challenge with notifications. Is it's like a fire hose almost. Once you do wrangle it and bring it into one place, there's a lot of things popping up hourly. So how do you filter those things? You got to find ways to filter those things as well. What do you really need to see? You got to ask yourself that question. What do you really need to see? Do you really need to know that particular thing just happened? Or is that something that isn't really that important? So only the important things, only to get your attention. And also, like Trello, like I said, we need to figure out how to systematically get things into Trello and get those assigned to our team and so forth. So it's a real world challenge for us. Calendars has become a thing actually in recent, like this year, where I actually have to keep track of multiple calendars. What I have actually in literally this last week, I've implemented something I've never done before. So I use a Mac, MacBook Pro. And so I'm an Apple guy. I got my Apple phone, my phone. And so I'm hooked into Apple in terms of my business, right? So, so you always you have calendars, you have a built-in calendar, and you have a built-in mail thing app. But I always ignored them. I would just go right directly to Gmail, handle things in there, and my calendar, I go right directly to Google Calendar, have everything in there. But I realized, let me, maybe this is getting a little insane, going to all these different buckets, and maybe I can get it all into one view. And I've been testing this out. It's actually been working pretty good this week, where I can actually see multiple calendars together. The reason why it's not easy to do with the part of our model too is we do white label, or we have to keep things separate, very separate in some instances. So to combine those things, I can't just necessarily, bring things together easily, like calendars. So this has actually been great. The same with the Gmail. I got multiple Gmail accounts now in Apple Mail. So I'm trying that. It's kind of working, but it's still kind of a little bit of like a fire hose. The other thing though that, so what I ended up doing is, a couple months ago, I hired a project manager, and her job, kind of project manager / coordinator, just somebody to help me onboard, see things, onboard everything. I thought that would really actually solve a lot of my problems in terms of not, kind of missing things and not being able to stay on top of things. And it has for sure. But it did eliminate the need for automation completely. And I actually, for a little bit I've been using Monday.com as kind of a central place for notifications and everything, and then using Zapier to bring those notifications in. Monday.com has some automations built in as well, so you can sometimes leverage that, or so there's things you can do there, other integrations. But for a while, I tried we're just going to do everything in Trello and not worry about it. Let's not worry about the fire hose over here. But things were still even slipping, even with two of us on things. And it's really challenging seeing precisely what's going on. So this is something, again, I've reintroduced, spent a good part of my weekend, actually, this past weekend, with Monday.com and Zapier and setting up Zaps and resetting all that up again, just so I can get better insights and just kind of how I'm doing it. And part of this was one of our clients too, is we needed a better way to even onboard tasks and stuff and see those tasks. And in that case, it's kind of interesting. They're in Basecamp. Basecamp, I don't really like Basecamp that much, but I like Trello more in Basecamp for sure. But in terms of being able to see what's going on and the mess, it's a busy Basecamp. But one of the things that I'm doing in that case, and what we'll probably do in a lot of cases, is instead of going into Monday. So Monday is acting as a notification. So if I get, like right now, I'm looking at it, I'm getting an email from somebody, and it's just telling me basic information, like where it came from, the inbox. So Matt's email or whatever. And then who's it from? Right there, I already know the importance of it. I kind of gauged that in my head, and then what the item title is, what the email is, or whatever. And there's also comments and stuff coming from like Basecamp and other places where I can see, what the comment was related to. But the key here with Monday is I call it an activity inbox. My activity inbox is literally just, hey, something happened over here. Go check it out. It's that there are links. I have links to like Basecamp. I can drop a link in here too with the automations, but that's less important than me just knowing something happened. So that's key. when you have all these things, all these different systems, just knowing instead of having to log into the system to see if something happened, in real time, I can see what's going on if I got a message. And what that allows you to, at a glance, I can see, okay, that's going to be really important. I need to go do that, or I was waiting for that message or whatever. So that's happening there. But with Basecamp 2, I'm also we have like a central, like a board in Trello. And what do I call that board? I call that board the task builder. It's the task builder. So we got the activity inbox and we got the task builder. So on the task builder is for myself and my project management person. And it's for us to everything kind of drops into the inbox there. And then we can take it and add the descriptions, do other things to that, and then move it to another board and assign it to a team member. So that's what's happening with some of our Basecamp stuff now with our tasks. When a task comes in, a new task, it creates a card right away. And it skips Monday.com. It goes right to creating a card. So that's another thing. We just have to have that open or log into that board throughout the day to see those things dropping in there. And then we can handle them a lot quicker. So those are the two things this week. This is the lesson. The big lesson is you can't just throw bodies at things sometimes. You can't just, hey, if I, get somebody to help me with tasks, they're going to be able to see everything too. Or we'll be able to figure that, because with her, it was she could handle these accounts, and then I could continue to handle these larger accounts or newer accounts that are very demanding and need my attention, which has worked, right? It has worked. It actually is fine. But even when I'm providing that to her, she also needs the automations and tools to see things and still needs help. I can't just be like, oh, here you go. And I tried that, but it didn't work. But everything's an experiment. Everything's a test. And you learn as you go. But it's definitely something we need to reinstitute and spend a lot more time on. This is really and this is one of our competitive advantages, is in the ability to work with agencies and to wrangle all this data coming in, and so we can execute quicker and stay on top of things and follow up on things and have all those systems in place. That's hard. It took us all this time, years, to figure out our system here, and hopefully that's good. That challenge is pretty much solved. It's funny, and I'll leave it at this. You can always think there's got to be a better way to do this, but sometimes there just isn't. Sometimes what you have, what's in front of you, what you figured out after spending months or years figuring it out and testing and experimenting, maybe this is it, and we just need to do the best we can with what we got now. And I think that's kind of where we're landing right now. The only other thing that I could think of doing is building our own back office, our own system. Hire a programmer or have somebody we know build something for us that could do something similar to this. That is an option for us. Maybe in 2023 or 4. Sorry, I'm getting Slack notifications. I better go. Notifications. Talk to you later. Hope this was helpful, useful, gave you some insights, some lesson there somewhere. Take care. Bye-bye.